Here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you the most affordable front suspension that you can put on your Surron and Talaria. And I know what you're thinking. I got a whole bike here. How is this affordable? I bought this whole bike, got 400 bucks in it. And that's a YZ85 2005 front end with the 19-inch front wheel. So it's a big wheel, whole shot device. This thing has oversized brakes. It's got a dirt bike style brake. It's got everything we need to put this on the Talaria or Surron. And I'm going to show you that this may be the way to do it, because then we can sell all of this. So it may be free. So what did our $400 get us? Well, to start with, somebody had taken this YZ85 and put a trail kit on it. So they had it street legal, speed sensor here, but none of that matters. What I really wanted was the fact that it has an oversized rotor, the big kit. It's got the big piston dirt bike brakes. It's got actual dirt bike forks that are in relatively good shape, and we have more. And then the motor. Somebody has stripped the shifter out. The chain is off. Tires are gone, but it does have an FMF silencer with Pro Circuit platinum pipe that's in relatively good shape. The reason why the motor is not running is because the kickstart shaft got bent. They had pulled it apart, bent the kickstart shaft tab. I've got all kinds of parts that we can be able to use. So we'll get this thing apart. Let's rob the pieces off of this and let's get moving forward. And then we'll take the parts off of that. So got this off. I've seen one guy online do this before. It's kind of where I got the idea. And he just took a hacksaw to these. These will hit the frame on the Talaria. He did not press the stem out. I want to impress upon you, it's important to press that stem out. It's not that hard to do. Bench press? Not that type of bench press. A shop press. And just take your stem and you just push it out the bottom. That way it clears for these to be cut off smooth without getting a bunch of aluminum and whatnot in the bearing. And it makes it super easy to clean this up. So I'll cut this down and show you what's next. The reason why we're cutting these off is because it's going to interfere. There's a locking mechanism there. Don't need it anyways, but we're just going to cut those off flush and show you how. I'm kind of a genius. Forgot to hit record, but I just took the bandsaw, hacked them off right there. Now we'll get a file, make them perfectly smooth. And the arduous test of just smoothing these out. You probably don't want to sit here and watch this. This is what you're going to need to put a YZ85 front end, one of the best budget front ends that you can put on a Surron or Talaria. And it really starts with finding a big wheel, because that way you've got the 19. If not, you need to buy one. This one has a big floating rotor. I'll show you the bracket that holds that thing on there. This came with the kit. It's a little spacer that spaces out the brake caliper right here. Also, what you're going to get, which most people don't realize is going to be a huge upgrade, is an actual set of dirt bike front brakes, which are going to be 2 piston, but a lot bigger pads, a lot stronger pads, a lot more power. This is designed to just put so much clamping force that you will not get almost no matter how much you upgrade your mountain bike, e-bike front brakes. I have the oversized front brake rotor on my Talaria, and it is good, but I promise you it won't be as good as this. I did get lucky with this one too. It had a set of aftermarket triple clamps, which aren't necessary, but are nice to have. We did modify these. Like I said, you have to cut that off, make that flush so it'll clear around the outside of that stem here on the front of the Talaria. So you need all that. We'll push it back together. We will be using the stock YZ85 front bearings. So these bearings here, we'll be using those. They technically drop right in those races that are in there. It's kind of nice. So it's a pretty easy, pretty simple upgrade. So let's get this thing thrown on, and let me show you what it looks like as we go along. An issue that I did come across was this bolt will not tighten down to that bearing because the space here is just a touch smaller. So I had these 4 shims. You can get them from the hardware store. Just get the right size. Take the nut with you. Make sure you get the right size, and there it is. Let's keep moving forward. And here it is. The bike now has the front end on it. We have ridden it around the yard. I made some adjustments to the spring. I cut 10% out of the spring and then made a spacer to make up the difference. What that'll do is that 10%, however much you cut out of a spring, that's how much you stiffen it up. So it'll help it keep it from bottoming out and everything. I made a bracket to put the Talaria front fender back on it. I think I'm going to go with a YZ front fender later, but I couldn't find one that was not blue, so I didn't want a blue fender. So we got this on here. We're going to do some laps, see exactly how this works out, and I have to check on my buddy. I think he just crashed. You all right? Hurt your pride more than anything? All right, as you saw, we got to ride at a pretty interesting track. We'll touch on that real quick. That was Madden MX Playground. The guy is got a lot invested in turf. He's got enough turf that he's building a full dirt bike track. I'm not talking about just pit bike track, which you saw us ride on. We're talking about like jumps the size of my shop that are going to be covered in turf. I had a blast. I was somewhat skeptical, but looked fun when I went out there. I think you were real skeptical.
Yeah, I didn't know how the traction was going to be and just the quality of the track itself, how that was going to be, but it turned out awesome.
If he builds his big bike track reminiscent of that, I think it'd be a lot of fun. I don't think it's going to be a place that you're going to go to training, but I think it'd be a place to go and have a lot of fun with your buddies and hang out and ride.
Oh yeah, that's a playground, not a racetrack.
It's most definitely that. So, but anyways, y'all didn't come to see that. You came to see this, and we have a little bit of time, quite a bit of time on the stock Talaria front end, which this is the MX4. It comes with the factory Talaria fork is what they call it, and it is factory trash.
It could be worse, but anyone over like 120 pounds It's gonna bottom quickly. It's gonna be really, really soft in places you don't want it to be soft.
And no adjustment, really.
No real
We've had
adjustment.
everything as tight as you can get it. We couldn't get. We're not the stunt riders, the guys that are out just riding wheelies and having fun. And I think for that it'd be fine.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just out there riding wheelies on it and riding around your backyard, you're gonna. It's more than enough like suspension. But if you want to jump it at all, even off of hills or anything like that, it needs to be better.
Yeah, it was. Y'all have seen some of our shorts. He had it on a supercross track, and it was just bottoming out constantly. So this is the budget front end. And the crazy thing is yes, this is one of the cheapest ways to put a good front end, but I think it may be one of the best front ends you can do, because not only do you get the better suspension that is adjustable, that you can. I have talked to my friends. I'll call Checkers a friend. Can we call Checkers a friend at Race Tech?
Sure.
Yeah, we call Checkers. We can talk to him about getting internal parts for this. This is a real motorcycle front end that you can get parts for. We first put it on right off the bat. It was too soft. We're way too big for an 85 or a super mini. So I took the spring out. I cut 10% off the spring and made some little spacers to make up that difference, so the fork still rode where it was supposed to. And I want to say it's better than I could hope for.
Yeah, I mean it's solid. I thought the forks were going to overpower the shock a lot more than it already does.
Yeah, the shock is our next upgrade.
Yeah, I think the forks, because they are beefier, they're a little bit stiffer, there's a little bit more to them. It does overpower the rear shock, which means that it makes the rear shock bottom quicker.
Yeah.
But I think the trade-off is better than the forks that were already on it. Until we get a rear end done on it.
And if you're doing this on a budget, like I said, I bought this. You can buy an older big wheel that's in decent shape for $1,200 to $1,800, which is the price of just one of the aftermarket front forks, and then take that 85, part it out on eBay, make probably most of your money back. Those motors alone, if you have a good running motor that you can have video of it running, they bring $800-900 for the complete motor. I mean, just the cases alone are $400 on eBay. So you could get a lot of your money back. And this one here, I'll make more money than what I spent in this. I got $400 in this front end, and kind of a win on our part. I did have to put a different set of bars on. The bars that were there were bent, and you will not be able to use the factory Talaria or Surron bars because they clamp in the middle, and they're just not wide enough for these clamps. But we had bars laying around. These are the factory KTM. This is what comes on a KTM from stock. And we tried the mini high bars. They were too high. They cramped you in the riding position too much. They brought the bars too close to you. And Doc suggested that we go to a more flat bar, a lower bar, and he was right on.
And we even rolled these bars a little more forward.
Yeah.
Not over the forks, but farther forward on them to open that rider triangle up more, because this bike, if you're, I mean, I would say 5'8" or taller. I mean, I'm 6 foot.
Yeah.
But you want that like more open rider triangle for sure.
I didn't make a video on this. I built this aluminum bracket to put the factory front fender on. I just wanted a front fender. I have got a YZ85, a newer style YZ85 front fender being ordered, so I can put the YZ85 front end on it. But other than that, you get the dirt bike style front brake, which is going to be more robust. It's going to hold up to heat better. It's not going to fade. You get a fatter rotor. Don't forget this. An 85 comes with a 16-inch front wheel, and you want the Super Mini. If you're going to do this without buying the Super Mini, just a regular YZ85 front fork, you will need to buy a YZ85 Super Mini front wheel.
Which is a 19-inch instead of the 17 that comes with them.
Yeah, exactly. 16, right?
It's 17.
You may be right. I don't remember.
Who knows?
It doesn't matter.
Who knows?
But anyways, so I would say this is probably one of the best upgrades so far.
Yeah, 100%. Other than the foot pegs.
The foot pegs, yeah, the foot pegs are important.
Foot pegs definitely made a huge difference just in having a platform to ride.
That's true, but
to have your feet. But
it's about, what did we figure out? It was about 12 pounds heavier than what the factory.
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, 12 pounds heavier, and I don't notice it. When first time I rode it, I could feel the front end, but also the front end didn't have any hold up, so it felt heavier. So if you do not, they don't make springs heavy enough for like 180, 190 pound rider. So like I said, I cut out 10%. You measure the whole spring. I think it was 1.7 inches is what I cut off, which is it's 170. Wait, so whatever it
It was
was,
10% of the spring.
10% of the spring, and then I used that much of a piece of PVC for a spacer, and it gave us the hold up we wanted in the corner. So if you are going to ride this moto, then this is what I would suggest: get a moto fork, or spend $2,000 for a highly upgraded fork. But what you don't get with that is you don't get a rim, a set of spokes, and a hub that are designed for this. So you basically get because you use the factory style front wheel, which is basically a glorified BMX, a mountain bike front wheel. So
one thing I will say is
yeah.
this is a lot cheaper. Like we've already went over,
Mm.
but that means that you're saving a lot of money on this front end, which means you can put money into the back end.
Yep.
So we can get something that can hold up like a better shock that will hold up better and match these forks a lot better than what it currently has.
This will work on a Surron. This will work on an MX3. This will work on all of them. And I had to put some spacers in there, as you saw in the video, just because to take up some room, because the headset on this is a little shorter than the YZ85. But I mean, we're talking about maybe a quarter of an inch. But once they come out with it, they do make heavy duty springs. You could get a heavy spring and this front end, and if you're not super aggressive and making big hits, I think it would hold up real well. So
yeah,
I'm happy with this. We've been bashing the Talaria pretty hard, and it's holding up. So we're happy. So stay tuned for more upgrades, and maybe we can get Doc to actually send this over something big and see if we can break it.
Let's get a couple more upgrades first.
Sounds good.